Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Hello, American families. Welcome to this week's episode of The Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell. And if you love your family, care about them deeply, and want to learn how to protect them in every facet of your life, then you come to the right place. Oh, man. We got a great show for you today. We've got Tom Lambert, president of Michigan Open Carry, and we are going to be talking about the new online renewal system that the Michigan State Police just launched just a few days ago. That's going to be coming up in segments 2 and 3. Right now, my kids are out, probably about 40 yards away. They are sledding. You remember when you were a kid and you were impervious to the cold, the ice, and the snow? I vaguely remember that. I remember going out there for hours and hours on end, and it's like the cold just didn't seem to bother me. Now, I'm cold in the studio. But I guess old age, I suppose. But anyways, I remember, just yesterday, I was in here working in the studio, and I walked out to go into the house to get something, and it was right about this time. It was at dusk, and I saw a car parked across the road, and my kids were out sledding, and I went into what my wife calls self-defense overdrive, which to me is just the normal situational awareness. And I'm thinking, okay, what is that car doing there? Because we live on a country road. So I'm watching it, trying to see if there's anyone inside. And, my imagination just runs wild. And I'm okay, if I have to assault this car, how am I going to do it? Am I going to use the AR-15, my shotgun, my pistol? What am I going to do? And my son come up right about that time, a 12-year-old Cedar. And I said, son, how long's that car been there? He said, it's been there about 15 minutes. Okay, who's inside? And he told me every detail about the driver of the car. He had a description. He even told me how they walked, because apparently what had happened is we'd had a lot of snow and they couldn't get in the driveway of the home that they were visiting. So, Cedar told me what they were wearing, what they looked like, a good description, even their gait, how they walked. And he said, don't worry, Dad, I've got my eye on them. So, if nothing else, I'm raising my kids correctly. They are not going to be an unwilling victim. So, good. Very, very good. All right. What else? Hey, I've got I bought a new concealed carry belt. I went on to crossbreedholsters.com. And I checked out their belts. In the past, I've always gotten, just a good solid leather belt. Not the pressed leather kind. Those things fall apart like you would not believe. But a good top-grain cowhide belt. And I thought, you know what, this time, let's see if I can get something sturdier, something heavier. So I went to crossbreedholsters.com and I checked out their classic carry belt. It was like $59.95, and they were running a 20%, Cyber Monday special. So I went ahead and I looked at that. It looked really, really good. So I ordered it, and I got that yesterday. It took like 2 days for it to get to me. And boy, I couldn't believe how thick this belt is. I wish I could show it to you, but obviously it's radio, and I can't do that. It is very solid, very sturdy. I think this will probably last me, well, one of my kids will probably inherit it, because it'll probably outlast me. It's like 2 pieces of top grain cowhide, and they're stitched together. One of the unforeseen benefits that I got from this concealed carry belt is it really supports my full-framed M&P pistol really, really well. It's easier on my lower back, on my waist, just because it feels like the gun weighs less, because it just supports that weight so well. So if you carry a full-frame pistol, a heavier pistol, and you want some relief, boy, check out the crossbreedholsters.com, their classic carry belt. They have more expensive ones there, but this one was like $59.95, and 20% off that was a good deal. I think they're still running that. So I'm real happy with that. Haven't shot any more deer yet, but I'm going to go out in the morning and we will give it a try. I'm thinking I just checked out my muzzle loader. I went into Bob's Gun and Tackle, and I got some good solvent, cleaning kit, a bore snake, and some more 9mm ammo. And I gave my muzzle loader a good cleaning, because we have the muzzle loader deer season coming up here in Michigan fairly soon. So I also checked out those 450 Bushmasters. Oh gosh, man, Santa Claus, do me right, okay? I need one of those. But anyways, I've got a lot of news that I wanted to go over today. And people are always telling me that nothing bad ever happens in these small towns. And folks, that is just so untrue. So every once in a while, I pick up a copy of the Hastings Banner. And I've got one of these in front of me right now. And I go to, what do they call it? The police beat. And I just scan over these things. Here, and of course there's a lot of small town, stuff that happens that, doesn't really pertain to crime. Here, loose horse nearly causes accident. We don't care about that. Close counts don't matter, except in horseshoes and hand grenades. Driver under influence of marijuana arrested. Oh, that's right. Even though marijuana is legal, you still can't drive under the influence of marijuana. Woman deposits crystal meth at store. This one was kind of interesting. Right there in Hastings, Michigan. If you live in Hastings, it's not a big town, maybe 5,000-6,000 people. An employee of Rent-A-Center in Hastings called police at 7:12 p.m. November 26 to report a person acting strangely in the store. Actually, if you're from Berry County, what exactly is strange? I mean, I grew up in Orangeville, and it's not a whole lot that falls into that category. A 35-year-old woman walked into the store dressed in all black and not wearing shoes. Folks, it's cold here. You listeners from Florida, it's cold here with snow on the ground. She set down a silver case before leaving. 2 officers arrived and one talked to the woman who was in a passenger seat of a truck in the parking lot. The driver, age 54, said he had gone to the parking lot to check for plowing, and when he stopped, the woman jumped in and refused to say anything. Here I am. Take me. I'm yours. Meanwhile, the other officer talked to store employees and opened the case, which had a large amount of crystal meth inside. Gosh. The woman said it was her meth and that she put it there, but she refused to get out of the vehicle. When the officers attempted to remove the woman from the vehicle, she threw out her arms and repeatedly attempted to kick her legs at the officers. She was arrested, and information was forwarded to the prosecuting attorney. Drugs are a wild card, folks. Drugs and alcohol. What else we got here? Oh, Alto man arrested for operating under the influence. Yeah, that'll do it. He blew at .13. Oh, here. Father and daughter subdue man. An officer was dispatched to the 5000 block of Lacey Road for a domestic assault at 5:53 p.m. November 25. The arresting officer found 2 people holding a man down in the front yard. One of the individuals was the 58-year-old owner of the home, and the second was his 34-year-old daughter. The 2 were holding down the woman's 25-year-old fiancé. The father and daughter, oh, what a tangled web we weave. You know, these family dynamics. The father and daughter told the officer the couple got into an argument over the man's drinking, and he attempted to leave, but the woman stopped him because she did not want him driving while intoxicated. The man became, that reminds me, my second wife, okay, God rest her soul. She was an alcoholic. She had been drinking, and I remember she was trying to leave the house, and boy, I was holding one of our kids at the time. I must have been like 3 years old. I think it was my son Philip, 3 years old, and she almost ran over me with her car because she had to have a drink. I tell you, alcohol is a wild card. You can, when you're sober, you can be the most wonderful person in the world, charming, kind, benevolent. But when you want to drink or meth or whatever it is, drugs and alcohol are a wild card. You will turn on the people that you love. You know what? Just stay away from all of that stuff. Where was I? All right. But the woman stopped him because she did not want him driving while intoxicated. The man became violent and smashed a television, kicked the father's car and broke its mirrors, and punched through the window of a storm door on the house. What a sweetheart. I hope this woman learns. Fiancé? No. Run from this man. When the father confronted him, why did he confront him? The boyfriend said, the lighted ornaments in the front yard were on fire. Hey, look, a squirrel. When the father looked away, the boyfriend tried to hit him, but the daughter yelled to warn her dad. The two men wrestled on the yard, and the daughter helped subdue the boyfriend. Both the father and daughter had cuts from the boyfriend's nails. He was arrested and given a breath test with a result of 0.137. Information was forwarded to the prosecuting attorney. Yeah, folks, don't invite crazy people into your life. And I would put drug abusers and alcoholics in that category. Here's one here. Thief steals safe with money and handguns. The owner of Mid-Lakes Storage Facility in Delton called police at 10:37 a.m. November 18 to report a break-in at the office. A burglar broke the front window to unlock the deadbolt and proceeded to tear out a safe that was bolted and stole money from a drawer. Included in the safe were 3 handguns. The burglar also stole a leaf blower, angle grinder, pneumatic nailer, and power screwdriver. The investigation is ongoing. Hey, if you stole those guns, bring them back, okay? I won't ask any questions. Oh, gosh, folks, I tell you, some of the weirdest stuff goes on in small towns. And unless you read the paper or know someone, you just don't, you don't hear about it. You just don't hear about it. All right, here's one last article here. We got time for one more. From the Detroit News, DetroitNews.com. And this one, I didn't know whether or not to laugh or vomit. Maybe I'll just vomit while I'm laughing. Oakland University to fight active shooters with hockey pucks. What are we? Are we Canucks now? We're in Canada? It's a potential face-off between bullets and thousands of hockey pucks at Oakland University. Leave it to higher education. What a misnomer. The Auburn Hills University began equipping its faculty and some students with hockey pucks this month as a last resort precaution to throw at active shooters on campus, officials say. Folks, I am not making this up. I swear, I am not making this up. These people at our higher institutions of learning, it's like they're brain dead. What possesses anyone to think this way? Put down the gun or I hit you with a hockey puck. You can't make this stuff up. It's just crazy. Oakland University Police Chief Mark Gordon said the idea emerged during a training session he was giving earlier this year on surviving an active shooter situation. You know, I got to take this guy's active shooter training. You know, does it come with a hockey stick? I don't know. Gordon, a former youth hockey coach, said since the university has an ordinance against weapons, one attendee asked what staff and students should bring to prepare themselves for a fight. He recalled once being struck in the head with a puck and said, "It caused a fair amount of damage to me." Yeah, it was brain damage, you idiot. You have a terminal brain injury if you think that you should be taking hockey pucks to a gunfight. And you're a police chief. My gosh, do you issue your police officers hockey pucks? No, you don't. You give them guns. Why? Because that's what you bring to a gunfight. You know, some of the things, and these are our colleges. You know, we pay good money to send our kids to the most stupid people on the planet. I'm sorry, folks. It's just amazing what counts for intelligence these days. All right, well, okay, we are about out of time here in segment one. But when we come back, we are going to have Tom Lambert, the president of Michigan Open Carry, and we're going to be talking about the online renewal system that the Michigan State Police just opened up. You no longer have to go to the county clerk's office to renew your concealed carry permit. So if you're interested in that, then hey, stick around to segments 2 and 3, and we'll give you all the straight scoop on how you need to do that and what you need to know. All right, we got a 2-minute break. While we are away, I want you to go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and see how FLP can help you protect yourself in the courtroom should you ever have to use your firearm in self-defense. Then go to elitefirearms.us and see what Larry Jackson can do to get your family equipped with the right firearm for home defense. All right, folks, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
My name is CJ Coryell. Welcome to the Home Defense Show with my dad, Skip Coryell. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715 or visit elitefirearms.us.
This is Colonel Denny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. We are speaking today with Tom Lambert, president of Michigan Open Carry, of which I am a life member. Tom Lambert, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Hi, Skip. Thanks for having me back. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing really well. I've had I don't know if you're a deer hunter or not. I've had a bad season. I've only shot like 2 deer this year. And thank God for roadkill, or my family would be starving to death. You're from the city, aren't you? You're from Grand Rapids, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah, just outside the city. But I did grow up out in the woods on a dirt road, so.
Oh, good. Well, when people think of roadkill, they think of, a carcass that's rotting with maggots and vultures flying all over it. This was fresh. Just let me put that forward to you.
My dad hit a deer when I was young, and we brought it home and cleaned it.
Well, you know what? Usually it costs more to fix the car than you. The meat ends up being like $5,000 a pound or something like that.
Well, at least you're making use of it.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, Tom, I want to thank you for being on the show because, you and I we were on Facebook just the other day, and just between you and me, Facebook, any place online, can be just as dangerous as a back alley in downtown Detroit because sometimes people can get nasty on Facebook and Pinterest or wherever your place is there. And there can be some heated discussions because when people get online, it's like they feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof. They're anonymous, and everyone is an expert on Facebook. Has that been your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously you're awarded a Facebook degree in law, in doctoring, and in science, and in everything else as soon as you sign up.
Exactly. Even though you're 47 years old and you still live in your mama's basement, you are an expert, a self-ascribed expert. All right. Well, I put up a post on Facebook about the renewal system. Michigan State Police, came out with the online renewal system. And for the benefit of our listeners here, tell us about the online renewal system. How did it come to be? How long did it take to get up there? How does it work? Just all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure. It came to be in Senate Bill 34 of 2015. That was the piece of legislation that eliminated gun boards. A lot of people remember that. And this was part of that legislation, but the MSP had until December 1st of 2018 to get that rolling. Now, they're a little bit ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. Congratulations to them for getting ahead of schedule, but that's where that came from. Part of this process is, well, look, you've already handed in your certification. You've already gotten your fingerprints. You've already done everything that you need to do in person. All you have to do now is just fill out a little bit of paperwork and give them some money. Why can't we do that online?
Yeah.
And, well, everybody agreed, and that was added to the law, and the MSP was given 3 years to get the website up, and now they've got it up. And my understanding, the way it works, is when you get your renewal letter, there will be a PIN number on there, and when you go online, they'll give you the website to go to. You enter that PIN number in there as well as your other information, and do your renewal that way so that you no longer have to go down to the county clerk. For some people, that's really easy to do. It's 5-10 minutes away. Their parking's easy. For those of us in more populated areas, any of your listeners in Wayne County or even here in Kent County, going down to the county clerk it usually takes longer than my lunch hour.
Yeah. A lot of people have to take half a day off work just to renew their CPL. So I'm glad this happened. I would think, just from judging the makeup of my classes, the demographics, probably the young people, anyone, in their 40s on down, probably real excited about this. But I imagine there are some older people, 50s, 60s, 70s, who really aren't excited about getting online to renew because, I'll be talking to some people and, you ask them for their email and it's like, I just drowned a kitten or something. I'm not getting online, But, I could probably start another offshoot of my business, just teaching people how to get online to renew their CPL. But I, for one, I'm excited about this. I mean, because it's pretty much already automated. And I remember a few years back, I was teaching concealed carry over in Wisconsin. And when they passed their concealed carry law, it was automated from the very beginning. You didn't have to go down in person or do anything. You just downloaded the form, you printed everything out, you gave them a check, you mailed it in, and then you got it in the mail. And boy, they would get it in a matter of a couple of days. So I never really understood why Michigan was so convoluted.
There are a number of states that do that, where you can apply online for the initial application. You just scan your certificate if you need it. You provide them a picture if you need it. You provide them everything online. I really don't see any reason why we can't do that, but at least this is a step in the right direction. Yeah. And to be clear, for anyone that does not want to renew online, this is not required.
Oh, okay.
Still go down to the county clerk just the way you've always done it. The law also talks about being able to mail something in. The wording's a little unclear whether or not the MSP can choose mail or online, or whether or not you can choose which one to do. And I have not heard anything from the MSP yet of being able to mail in your renewal application. So I don't know if they're doing that or not. But again, the current process remains in place. This is only adding another option. It's not taking anything away.
All right, well, that's good. Do you know, has anyone successfully went online and renewed their permit yet? Have you heard anything?
I've seen a lot of discussion about this, but I'm trying to think. I've not heard specifically from anyone that has gone through and received their license yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. Go ahead.
One of the problems there is you get this window to renew in, so you can't renew too early, and so hey, anybody have a license that you got to renew here?
Yeah, go ahead, test it out for us. One of the things. Was it Senate Bill 34 back in 2015? They changed the pricing on CPLs. The original one was like $100, but now it's $115 for renewal. I never understood why it's more for renewal than it is for the original license. Can you give what's the logic there?
Well, it was $105 back then, and now it's $115 for both. But the reason why it looks like $100 for the new license is they kind of played some games to hide the fee increase. What they did is when it was $105 included fingerprinting, because you had to go get fingerprinted. What they did is they separated out the fingerprinting and made that an additional $15. And so when you go to apply for a new license down at your county clerk, it's $100 to apply for a new license and $15 to get fingerprinted. And so then on renewal, when there's less work to do, there's no fingerprinting to do, well, how much does it cost? Well, no, it costs $115 to renew, not $100 plus the $15. And that just shows you, I always talked about it that way to really highlight that the increase, especially on the renewal, was simply a money-making scheme. Yeah. And we've talked about that in the past.
It certainly sounds that way because, when you renew, it's like, you don't do any fingerprinting. You don't even have to have your picture taken anymore. Yeah, this is just purely administrative, where you give them the information that they need. It runs through a computer, and then they spit it out and mail it to you. So I've never. I think I do understand it, but.
Well, you said they mail it to you. That was another change in that same bill, is requiring the county clerks to mail it to you. Because you used to have to go in to apply, and then go back in to pick it up, then go back to renew, and then go back in to pick up your renewal. So at least the mailing to you, is a big help. And there was an argument that, well, yes, it is a little bit more expensive now, though. If you take into account the time that you save and the gas that you save and the parking that you save, for the vast majority of people, it will be cheaper. And that is true. However, it still ignores the fact that they did not need to increase the fees. They're making tons of money now, upwards of 75% profit just to the MSP. They could have lowered the fees and still done everything that they had done and still made a profit.
Yeah. Well, didn't Michigan Open and Carry have some type of a FOIA request along those lines? How is that going?
We have two FOIA requests, one for database access and one for what they're spending the money on. every year the Michigan State Police is required to report effectively where the money goes. All these expenses of things they're spending money on that they get from CPL fees. They don't report that in their annual report. So we FOIA'd it. They just gave us their annual report. We said, hey, no, this isn't what we want. We want this. And they said, no, we gave you what you asked for. And said, no, you didn't give us what we asked for. So we filed suit. The Court of Claims judge granted summary disposition to the Michigan State Police. Basically, think of it as throwing a lawsuit out. We've now appealed to the Court of Appeals, and what the judge did is the judge said, I'm not going to decide whether or not they are complying with their reporting requirements, and I'm just going to decide that they gave what you asked for. Even though we very clearly pointed out that you did not give us what we asked for. We had communications with them saying they did not give us what we asked for. We have information from them that we got on discovery that says even if the numbers were what we asked for, the numbers didn't add up right, and therefore still could not have been what we asked for.
Yeah.
And basically the Court of Claims judge just punted. We should be in front of the Court of Appeals on this fairly soon. I'm very confident the Court of Appeals will reverse this. It's clearly ridiculous. The other FOIA request for database access is going much better. I expect some good news, hopefully in the not too distant future, from the Court of Claims on that.
Oh, good. Well, maybe we can have you on again when something big happens there. But in the judge's defense, he gets paid the same whether he rules correctly or incorrectly. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Okay. All right. Well, the whole thing about, these fees, the government fees, they vary from state to state to state. I mean, some places, are like $10-20. Others, what is it in, I think Illinois is like $200 plus dollars. And, here's your permit, but you can't carry very many places. So, Michigan is somewhere in the middle. But still.
Oh, not somewhere in the middle. We are towards the top. Fourth most expensive state in the nation, including District of Columbia, when it comes to obtaining and renewing a CPL. The only ones that are in front of us are California, Illinois, and Washington, D.C. are the only ones in front of us. Yeah.
Well, and we're the only one that you could argue was a little more pro-gun, because certainly Illinois and the other ones, they were dragged kicking and screaming into the...
All three of those required litigation to even issue, and a couple of them are still undergoing litigation.
Yeah.
But that's who we're on par with in terms of how expensive our licensing is to get and maintain. And that is only the government fees. That's not the training included.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. It's to the point where if you're poor, you just can't defend yourself. You just can't do it. But Tom,
there's one more thing to talk about here if I want to add in really quick.
Yeah.
Most states, when you look at it, they either cast a very wide net and have a more minor punishment, or if they have a severe punishment, they have a very narrow net. And what that means is, if we're going to make it a felony, then the gun has to be loaded and on your person for it to count. Otherwise, we don't punish it. Or if we're going to say, any gun, anywhere on your person or even in your vehicle, well then no, we're only going to make it a misdemeanor. So you see the wide net and low punishment, or high punishment and narrow net. Michigan has both. We have a 5-year felony, and just about anything is a concealed pistol. Because it's not just concealed on your person, it's really anywhere in your vehicle that you can get access to. It's partially concealed, so if a little bit of it is covered by your coat, nope, that's concealed. We cast an immensely wide net, and we have one of the harshest punishments out there, in addition to one of the highest licensing fees, in addition to the government making a huge amount of profit off of this.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we have an opportunity here. If we could greatly lower the crime rate just by taking this law away and say, okay, hey, you want to carry a gun. If you can legally possess a gun, you can legally carry a gun. So, but that's just me. Tom, we're out of time here in this first segment, but let's go ahead. Let's take a 2-minute break. Go out and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and then elitefirearms.us. When we come back, we'll be speaking again with Tom Lambert, president of Michigan Open Carry. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is Felix Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Always use guns safely and wisely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 17 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like the movies and the good guys always won? In today's world, if you're forced to use your firearm to protect yourself, you will need protection. Firearms Legal Protection is here for you. FLP provides you with seasoned, experienced attorneys that handle your criminal and civil matters as a result of you protecting yourself. FirearmsLegal.com provides its members with uncapped attorney's fees, bail bond protection, and coverage in all 50 states. We are not a reimbursement plan. You can access uncapped attorney's fees for as low as $10 a month. Firearms Legal members are provided with educational services, training videos, and access to our vast national attorney network. While you're protecting yourself, let Firearms Legal protect you.
Listen up, folks. This is important. There are plenty of legal protection services out there, but none will protect you as well as Firearms Legal Protection. This is the one I use and the only one I recommend. Visit firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical and protect your family now. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. We are speaking with the president of Michigan Open Carry, Tom Lambert. Tom, good discussion last segment. Let's transition now into the training requirements for a Michigan concealed carry. What exactly are the training requirements?
It's set in law, and every class has to meet a bare minimum. It involves a minimum of 8 hours of training. 3 hours of that need to be range time, a minimum of 30 rounds being fired, and the training has to cover certain things like use of deadly force and other things. In terms of training, we were not at the top in the nation, but we are one of the more restrictive states in terms of what we cover, or what we mandate.
And then for renewal training, it's like 3 hours review of the original course material and 1 hour on the range.
Yep.
You know, one of the things.
And to be clear, you have to certify that you've done those things. There's some instructors out there that say no, you have to come get new training. You do not. And you do not have to have any official training. You can do all of that on your own. Now, a lot of instructors that offer that and say, no, this is optional, although you come pay us a lesser fee than a normal class and come sit in on my legal section and you come shoot with us for a reduced fee. That's fantastic. People going and renewing their training and catching back up on that, especially with the formal training like what you provide, Skip, that is fantastic. I just want to make sure it's clear that it's the renewal training through an organized organization that is optional.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the way I handle that is, people will call me. I'll let them know, you don't have to do that. You've got different options. You can research it on your own. You can go out and you can shoot by yourself, whatever you want. But, they can come in and, listen to the sheriff talk about, the laws that have changed in the last 5 years or whatever, because they certainly do change. And then, go ahead and shoot or take an advanced class. Oh boy, that's good training too.
Even better.
Yeah. But okay, let's talk about, and this is something in the Second Amendment community. It goes back and forth, because anytime you take rights versus responsibility, and the two bump up against each other, you're going to have people that go head to head. And that's what happened to us on Facebook, a few days ago. Is this a right? And if it is a right, what should we be required by the government to do? What do you think?
Well, to start off with, it is absolutely a right. And to be specific, that is, carry a firearm for your own personal protection outside of your home and off of your property. The Second Amendment, it has a prefatory clause of a militia, but the Michigan Constitution, we all know that doesn't mean what a lot of people like to say it means, but the Michigan Constitution is even more clear. Every person has the right to keep and bear arms for the defense of himself and the state. But that doesn't mean, as you were kind of talking about, that you can do this without responsibility. Just as everything that you do, just as when you use your right to free speech, when you use any of the freedoms that you have, you still do have a responsibility for it. The question then becomes, what barriers should we put in place before we allow people to exercise their rights? And some people are saying, well, okay, these are the barriers we should have to promote say a general good. However, other people listen to my previous statement and said, no, wait a minute, barriers before rights, you can't have those. Those are mutually exclusive. And when it comes down to it, I tend to fall on the side that says barriers before rights are indeed mutually exclusive. But let me make this, and we're talking about this in the context of training before getting the license to carry for your own protection. I want to make it clear. Training is good. Training is great. The more people that get training, the better. More people should be getting training, and people should be getting more training than what they are already doing. And that is to not only make sure they know what they're doing, but to satisfy that responsibility. However, should people be required under government punishment if they don't to get training before exercising this fundamental right for their own personal protection? No. The difference.
Tom, I think we agree on just about everything in regards to this. It is a sticky topic, though, especially when you talk to not necessarily anti-gunners, but people who aren't in the gun community, who don't own guns, but they still think it ought to be legal. When I've talked to people like that, if you breach the topic of, say constitutional carry and say, well, anyone who can legally possess a firearm should be able to carry it, and training should not get in the way of that, they get a funny look in their eye. You go, so you're saying we should just let people have guns, carry them, even if they don't know how to use them? And, well, to that segment of society, which is there's a lot of people in that area who believe that, I don't want guns to be illegal, but I don't want just any Tom, Dick, and Harry to be out there, because what if they shoot me?
It makes people, training makes people comfortable. It makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside. And I get it, because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, too. I like knowing that everybody is trained.
Yeah.
But do I want to punish them with, in this case in Michigan, a 5-year felony if they don't do that? No, I don't want to. If they don't get proper training and they do harm someone else, or and they make a mistake, then we hold them responsible. We hold them responsible for their actions. We make them compensate anyone that they may have damaged or injured, and then we limit their ability to do it in the future.
Yeah. I really think I would love to see us reduce the penalties for, people carrying without a permit. I really would. I mean, even a civil infraction, something that says, okay, hey, you broke the law, you shouldn't have done that. Hey, maybe you should get some training, or something like that. But, the whole topic, and I'm a firearms trainer, have been for, going on 19 years now, taught about 12,000 people how to carry concealed. I know, and quite frankly, between you and me and everyone listening today, the kind of person who is applying for their concealed carry permit today is much different, on average, than the person that was applying 18 years ago. The people that I see today, a lot of them have never touched a firearm in their life. And on the one hand, that's really good because, we're bringing them into the fold and now they can protect themselves. They're more Second Amendment friendly. All of that stuff is good. But then we give them 8 hours of training, shoot 30 rounds, and now you're Wyatt Earp. And that's just not true. I wish there was some way that we could do a much better job of promoting the training. I would love to see constitutional carry. But I would also like to see people, go beyond the 8 hours of training that's presently mandated. My fear is that you pass constitutional carry, no one's going to get the training. And I've heard that in I've had a mixed review from other states. Some say, oh, well, yeah, it hasn't affected our training. Other states have said, well, yeah, it did affect our training quite a bit.
Some states have seen an increase in training. Some states have seen a decrease. The ones that have seen an increase in training, what seems to have happened, but it does boil down to a little more than a guess, is that people started carrying and went, oh, I can do this now. I don't have to go get that license that I was not taking the time to go get. They start carrying and they go, okay, now I see why I need to go get training. I'm not comfortable with this. Let me go get this training here. And it's because it's not necessarily mandated, they can get training that perhaps is a little bit more suited to them or tailored to them, make training that they want a little bit more, and then they get into it. And rather than the law requiring you have to cover all these topics which may or may not be relevant to you, the trainers can cover topics that are indeed relevant to them, so they're interested in it a little bit more, and they actually come back to those trainers more and more. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. It does vary state by state. The most important thing to me is, regardless of whether or not training goes up or down, in all of the states that have passed constitutional carry, and it's over a dozen now, not a single one of them has reported any substantial increase in negligent acts or wrongful acts by people carrying otherwise lawfully when they do things. So gun violence is not going up. Negligent discharges are not going up. Negligent shootings are not going up. The problems that are in all of the people's heads that we discussed and that are in my head too, let me be very clear about that. I worry about it too. Those problems are not coming to be in these states that are passing these laws.
Well,
that is very important to me.
Yeah, that's important to me too. Now, we've got we're in a lame duck session right now. We're welcoming in a new governor, a new secretary of state, and a new attorney general who aren't necessarily real gun friendly. And I was hoping something would happen in this lame duck session that might advance our Second Amendment rights. But I'm not seeing anything public that tells that. Anything behind the scenes that you can tell us about the lame duck session?
Well, if it's behind the scenes, I'm going to say it's behind the scenes for a reason at this point. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure what's going to move, if anything. We might see something at the last minute. Past couple lame ducks, they just kind of seems to work out that way. They hang on to the gun legislation until the very last minute. This is something that Arlen Meekoff has done in the past, and he's the Senate Majority Leader now. It would be completely new for him to do exactly that. Though with the governor being who he is, and his stance being what it is, and the fact that he's on his way out, and therefore nobody has anything to hold over him, I'm not sure what we'll see, if anything.
Yeah. That was kind of my thinking too, Tom. I mean, this hasn't been the most gun-friendly governor that we've ever had. I have a feeling that the next 4 years I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see a lot of pro-gun legislation being signed into law over the next 4 years. What's your opinion on it?
We won't get anything big, but there are things that we can do, and even things that they should be passing right now in lame duck. There's a bill that if you carry on an expired license within 6 months of expiration, it's only a civil infraction instead of a felony. I think it's Washtenaw County right now. If you are 1 day past your expiration, they won't even offer you a misdemeanor. They want the felony.
Wow.
That is so incredibly ridiculous. But there's a bill that's sitting in the Senate. I think it's in Arlen Meekoff's committee to make it a misdemeanor for at least the first 6 months. That should be a year, but I'll take 6 months over nothing. Mm-hmm. Another one we have lifetime license that we've worked on. There's a couple other things that kind of work around the edge, and I think the governor would be okay with. Just hope the legislature actually gets them to his desk, and if not, we can continue working on them. We talked about how high the fees are, how severe the punishments are. The punishments, they're mostly used in Wayne, Washtenaw County. They're used in a lot of areas that are very Democrat-controlled. Mm-hmm. And they're used against a certain segment of the population that Democrats really go after. And it's destroying a lot of these communities, taking somebody who's an otherwise good person, who's a productive member of society, and just because they don't understand the law quite well, they didn't understand, inside the waistband carry with a handle sticking out, no, that is indeed concealed carry, the way the courts look at it. Giving them a felony and ruining their lives is not helping anyone.
Yeah.
I think we can find some bipartisan support, hopefully next session, behind reducing these penalties. We won't get constitutional carry, but we can bring, at least the first time you do it, and especially if you're not doing anything else wrong, let's bring that felony down to a misdemeanor. I'd like to go further, but let's just go that far.
Yeah.
Let's look at our fees. Let's look at, okay, if you have an expired license, we don't need to ruin your life, but we'll slap you on the wrist. Things like that.
Well, as long as we're getting our laws a little bit better, they're not getting worse. So, but, when does this lame duck session end? Do you know the exact date, Tom?
I don't know the exact date, but it'll be late December. I'm trying to think if it would be before or after Christmas, and I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. So between now and then, listeners, you can head on out to your Congress critters, and you can lobby them, say, hey, I'm a gun owner. We need you to do something now in this lame duck session while you still can. All right. Well, Tom, good talk. Thanks for your expertise. Now, before you go, please tell people about Michigan Open Carry and how they can join.
Sure. You can find Michigan Open Carry online. We're one of the big gun groups in the state. Obviously, we deal with open carry primarily, but one of the biggest misconceptions people have about us is when they hear Michigan Open Carry, they think we're promoting open carry over concealed carry, and that is absolutely not the case. We say there are benefits to open carry, there are drawbacks to open carry. There are benefits to concealed carry, there are drawbacks to concealed carry. It's up to every person to decide what's best for them in their specific situation. Personally, I do a lot of both, and that's the way it should be. Everybody makes their own decisions.
Yep.
But we're online, miopencarry.org. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Facebook group. Join our group and ask any firearm questions you have. We have a lot of people that are very, very knowledgeable in firearm laws.
All right. Tom, thank you very much for all that you do for the state of Michigan, and thank you for being on the Home Defense Show.
Well, thanks for having me again, Skip.
All right. Okay. We'll have Tom on again, I'm sure. All right. We got a 2-minute break here, folks. While we're away, go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and then go ahead and check out elitefirearms.us. This is Skip Coryell on a Home Defense Show. When we come back, we'll be giving you the wrap-up. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Welcome to my dad's Home Defense Radio show. You're gonna love it.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 17 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get civilian combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
This is Colonel Danny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715 or visit elitefirearms.us.
Skip, it's time for the Armed America Report. What do you have this week?
All of us here at Frontlines of Freedom want our listeners to get trained and get armed in that order. We fully support the right to keep and bear arms for all our law-abiding families, and we encourage you to find out about the laws governing use of deadly force in your state and follow them to the letter. And of course, don't forget to follow the rules of safety and common sense whenever you're carrying a firearm to protect the ones you love. What's the story this week, Colonel?
Well, a Louisiana woman who owns a .22 rifle used it to defend herself against a two-legged snake. When someone came to her door, she thought it was the deliveryman with a package she was expecting. Instead, she found a man who started talking, quote, like a stalker, saying he had been watching the home and such like that. As he droned on, his hands wandered between his legs, and he began touching himself through his pants. That was lewd enough to make the woman grab her rifle and shoot. He bolted as the bullet struck the ground at his feet.
Thanks, Colonel. This one sounded kind of strange, so I wanted to get additional facts before passing judgment. Here's what I found out. The woman answered her door and was standing outside her home trying to get her 3 small dogs to go back inside. That's when the man started touching himself inappropriately and making lewd comments to her. She ran back inside, got a Ruger 10/22 rifle, and shot the ground in front of him. She told reporters that, quote, I shot towards the ground and screamed at him to not come back. He left out of here with a hot foot. He was like a bank robber. He was gone. Well, in my opinion, she didn't handle this one very well for the following reasons. Number one, she never should have opened the door in the first place. According to the news article, the man was covered in tattoos, wearing civilian clothing, and driving a beat-up white car. That doesn't sound like the FedEx delivery man to me. 2, she was not legally justified in using deadly force, and shooting in the direction of another person is definitely use of deadly force, whether you're trying to kill him or not. Laws vary, so check out the laws in your state to be sure. And 3, once she ran back inside, why not just close the door and lock it? Once you are safely inside, then get your gun in case he tries to break in, and you'd certainly call the police and get them involved as quickly as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, this guy was no doubt a creep and a criminal, and this probably wasn't the first time he'd done things like this. He was definitely potentially dangerous, and he hadn't yet done anything to justify firing a gun in his direction. Fondling yourself in front of a woman and making lewd remarks is creepy and should be taken seriously. However, what this woman did could have landed her in trouble with the criminal justice system. So be careful and exercise good judgment before discharging your firearm to scare off intruders. But all's well that ends well, and we're happy he was scared off and that no innocent parties were hurt during this incident.
So this is another case where a gun didn't decide to shoot somebody.
That's right, another case. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Tom Lambert, president of Michigan Open Carry. He gave us all the scoop on the new Michigan State Police online renewal system for concealed pistol license. I think it's going to be a good thing. I really, really do. If you are out there and you have had experience renewing, please let me know. Send me an email, skipcoriel@hotmail.com, or, text me, Facebook, private message, whatever. Tell me your experience, and I will relay it to all the listeners here on next week's show. We talked a lot about rights versus responsibility. And Tom gave his opinion. And, a human right is a human right. It's something that you're bestowed by your Creator at birth. When you exist, it belongs to you. The rub comes, with firearms anyways, is upon your existence, your creation, you get this right to self-defense. And it's not limited to hockey pucks, okay? Or canned goods or books or whatever you want to throw, at the mass shooter. You get the right to keep and bear arms. That is your God-given right from the moment you come into existence. So that's where I am on that. The problem is there are lazy people out there. There are arrogant people out there. There are people who think, I don't need no stinking training. I can do it myself. Those are the same people that blow 0.13, because they're drinking and driving. These are idiots. There will always be idiots. The question is, how many idiots do we have in Michigan? Is it too many? Probably not. I don't think we have any more idiots here in Michigan than we do in any other state in the Union. So, if it's working for other states, and I'm talking about constitutional carry now, it'll work for us. But it's kind of a moot point with the new governor that we have coming in because, hey, we're not going to see constitutional carry for at least 4 years. Regardless, folks, less than 1% of all concealed carry holders go on to get any formal training beyond what is mandated by the government. That's sad. That's disgusting. And, shame on us, the gun community. You can't tell me you have all the training that you need. You don't. You're just being lazy. You're being lazy and you're being arrogant. I need more training. I'm on the range every single month. Am I ready for a gunfight? No, nobody's ever ready for a gunfight. You always need more training. You can't get too much good training. So, just go out and do the right thing. Do the right thing, folks. Get more training because you know in your heart of hearts that you're not Wyatt Earp. You are not. How did Wyatt Earp get so good? He trained. He practiced. And that'll work for you too. But you got to do it, folks. You got to do it. All right, some bookkeeping here. Some administrative stuff. Christmas is coming up. Gift ideas. The God Virus Complete Series. 4 books in 1 bound cover. $15.95. Go to Midwest Tactical, MWTAC.com, Michael Whiskey Tango Alpha Charlie.com, and click on book orders, and you will find that. It's regular $24.95 on Amazon. You will get it for $15.95 plus $2.50 shipping. Go ahead and order that. It's a great read. Sit in front of the fireplace during a nice cold winter with some hot chocolate, and just read that book. You're going to love it. Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry book. Speaking of training, it'll remind you of everything that you forgot from your concealed carry class. It's a good renewal training tool. It takes right about 3 hours to read that book, which is what you need for your renewal training. 3 hours review of the original course material and 1 hour on the range. Oh, advanced training. All of the class dates are up on my website right now. mwtac.com, Michael Whiskey, Tango Alpha Charlie.com. Click on advanced classes. They're all right there. You can get a certificate right now. My advanced classes are regular $110. Right now, you can buy those for $95. You can give them as a gift certificate to other people. I will mail them right to you. Don't miss out on this, because I know people are going to be paying me $110 for these classes all spring, summer, and fall. You might as well go ahead, order the certificate now, put it on your desk, and then that will motivate you to schedule an advanced class, because you know you need it. And I'll do my best to give you the best training possible. All right, next week, we're going to be speaking with a concealed carry instructor from North Carolina. His name is Eric Huford. And we are going to be comparing North Carolina concealed carry and gun laws with Michigan's concealed carry and firearms laws. It should be a really interesting study to see exactly, where does Michigan stand when it comes to the rest of the country. And I think I'm going to be doing more of this because I know a lot of instructors from all over the country. All right, folks, we're out of time, but go ahead and check out our sponsors, as always, EliteFirearms.us and also firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical. I'm going to head on inside the house now, and me and the kids are going to watch Die Hard 3. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. All the Die Hard movies, all 6 of them, they are Christmas movies. I don't care what you say. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. Until next week, remember your purpose in life is to find something greater than yourself and serve it. Always remember God, family, country in that order. It's important how you live, but it's equally important how you die. Your family and the ones you love need your protection, so train, always train, stay alert, stay alive. Until next week on the Home Defense Show, this is your host, Skip Coryell. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best in home defense.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!